I have also realized that they're not resting because of their failures in delivering what they promised the Zambian people.
Fast forward a few days ago, and an independent MP mysteriously disappeared last Saturday. Banda then reappeared on Sunday night claiming he'd been abducted and assaulted. And he's not the only one. Edith Nawakwi, leader of the Opposition Forum for Development and Democracy Party, and the civil rights activist Brepna Changala have also been arrested. That accused the government of kidnapping him. Now they've been charged with seditious practices. So what does the government say to all this? It denies any involvement. We tried to speak to Mr. Banda, but you're still in hospital. So we caught up with Ambassador AMB Mwamba, who's the spokesperson for the Patriotic Front Party and former ambassador to Ethiopia. Ambassador, could we just begin by, very briefly, could you tell us exactly what happened to AMB Banda over the weekend?
So we have a member of parliament from Eastern Province. A passerby found a car abandoned, and it didn't take long. It was identified as that one belonging to a member of parliament, Honorable Banda. And by morning, we became aware of it. I think that was Saturday morning. We became aware of his missing and clearly an apparent abduction. What raised our concern was a report from the police that they had found a suicide note in the car, and the suicide note was written poorly. Immediately, these raised alarm to all of us. We immediately termed it as an abduction or a kidnapping because Banda is very close to the former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu, Zambia's sixth president. And you're aware currently is that there is a big political tussle between the current president, President Hakainde Hichilema, and the former president, Edgar Lungu. Further, Banda and the former president and all of us around the former president have received threats, some public, some private. Before that, the current president, President Hakainde Hichilema, had been issuing statements saying he will not allow his predecessor to participate in politics or to come back into office, and he's made these numerous public utterances. I think these are the ones that have incited the threats against the former president and for people like Banda.
And so, Ambassador, do we know his whereabouts?
Yes. He was later discovered on Sunday to Monday morning outside Lusaka in a district called Kafue. He was abandoned by his abductors, and the family and the police then went and retrieved him. He's been under treatment. He preferred, and the family preferred, that he be treated under a private hospital, but the police forcibly removed him from the private hospital where the family had taken him and took him to a military hospital called Minor Soko Medical Center. Government has stated that because this is a serious matter of criminal abduction, therefore they needed to get custody of Honorable Banda and then take the matters out there. The family are very concerned. The threats against Banda's life came from people associated with government.
Right, so we've heard from the Home Affairs Minister, Jack Mwimbu, who's denied any involvement in the disappearance of JJ, that's the Honourable Member Banda, and the arrest of other leaders. What's your response to that?
It's extremely premature. No formal proper investigations have been done about this matter. The people that have been issuing threats, who are members of the ruling party, the UPND, have not been arrested. There are clear voice notes, clear videos that probably you have come across of party officials threatening the former president and all of us who are critics of the president. This matter can only be settled by a fair, objective, and independent investigation. The life of Banda is threatened. My life and life of many opposition leaders are threatened. Currently, as I'm speaking, all those that spoke against the abduction have all been locked up.
Ambassador, if I may just come in, because, the government to deny any claims or allegations that really they're threatening or maybe hunting or they're tracking you or they're just after your lives.
The evidence shows otherwise, and the abduction of Banda is in stark contrast to the false assurances that government has been giving. I personally have been, abducted by the police, brutally handled. I lost my tooth and I had bruises everywhere, and I was locked up for 3 days. That night, my family and everyone didn't know where I was. Our fears are genuine. The crackdown by the president against his critics is so strong.
For those of us who are outside of Zambia, would like to understand, where exactly would the government do this?
Well, there is a shrinking democratic space. President Hakainde Hichilema, who came on a democratic dispensation, promising freedoms, promising, rights for citizens, stating that will expand the democratic space, has instead done the opposite. There is a rise in dictatorship. There is a rise in crackdown against media and against political opponents.
Wasn't Edgar Lungu, when he was in office, also accused of the same? What I'm trying to understand, what's really the beef between the government and the opposition, or rather the former president?
First, the state of the country. The country is in serious economic crisis. It's experiencing the highest cost of living in the last 30 years. Food prices have escalated. We currently have a drought situation that has resulted in a famine where 6 million people are threatened, literally with famine. So you have a country in dire distress. We recently had health outbreaks like cholera, dysentery, typhoid, anthrax, and government has not handled these matters very well. They've instead gone to the critics who are raising these issues.
Ambassador, because you have got a significant representation in Parliament, I wonder, as the opposition, what have you done to resolve some of these concerns and the pressing issues that are facing you and ordinary Zambians, as you've stated it?
Our Parliament, I think, again, you've heard where our Parliament members of the opposition face frequent suspensions every time they raise this issue, where you have a speaker with a very stern hand that has not allowed the opposition in Parliament to freely speak. We are speaking of the shrinking democratic space, and these have been reported even by Human Rights Watch International.
Ambassador Mwamba, here at Focus on Africa, we've covered substantially, what's been really going on in Zambia, and we've actually even had the occasion of speaking to your colleagues. This has been happening for quite some time now. So what's new?
What's new is we had 2021, we had the general election. The entire country, we had the massive turnout. The people reset a button. They elected President Hakainde Hichilema to start afresh. We are 60 years as a country. We thought, and many Zambians thought, that President Hakainde Hichilema is going to help with that reset buttons. Corruption should be behind us. Torture of political opponents should be behind us. Harassing the media and political opponents should be behind us. Yet they've come full circle in full.
But your record was just equally as bad as you accused the current, ruling party.
Correct. So does it give them license to repeat what Zambians ejected, what Zambians rejected? Does it give license to President Hakainde Hichilema to harass his predecessor, to harass all of us members of the opposition? It doesn't. Zambians elected him to expand freedoms. Zambians elected him to resolve the economic crisis. Zambians elected him to abandon the bad traits of dictatorial and autocratic tendencies that has preoccupied this country.
The supporters of Hakainde Hichilema would be saying then you lack credibility because of what you had been accused of previously. So you would not be the best persons actually to, criticize the ruling party or for its ills, as you allege.
I just cited the Human Rights Watch International that has catalogued these human rights and freedom abuses. The Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, one of the largest Christian denominations in Zambia, have sounded alarm that there's a shrinking democratic space, that there's corruption, and that the president is handling his opponents and critics very badly. You have the Law Association of Zambia that has bemoaned this attack on the opposition, the attack on democracy. A wrong remains a wrong, whether committed by Edgar Lungu or committed by Hakainde Hichilema. Corruption is corruption, whether committed by Edgar Lungu or Hakainde Hichilema. Tribalism is tribalism, whether committed by Edgar Lungu or Hakainde Hichilema. The crime doesn't move away. What we should focus is to remove that crime.
All right, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, thank you very much for speaking to us on Focus on Africa.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
And we've just heard from the ambassador who says Emmanuel Banda has now been discharged from the military hospital, but he has since been picked up by the Zambian police for questioning. This is Focus on Africa from the BBC World Service.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J Cool.
Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, J Cool, and turn on the notification bell, cause I'm gonna see you in the next video.